Hey, it's Shaves, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best, and not so best, anime YouTube videos to come out this week, from the 25th of August to the 31st of August of 2020. This actually somehow landed on the exact same period of time as the last AniTube Digest, which came out a couple days shy of last year. This is officially the last for bulk of because this overlaps of the 2020. This is technically the start of season 2, but this is a big kind of anniversary. This is kind of the anniversary digest. Welcome. I'm really happy that it lasted this far. Thank you everyone for watching. Before we get to the videos, I do want to mention you can now watch this. You can now listen to this as a podcast officially. There is an RSS or Libsyn account in the description that I'm starting to pay for now with the help of my patrons. Thank you so much for patroning this too. I'm sorry it took so long after I started it. I thought it's close to the anniversary. It'll be cool to release it at that point. The first 10 or so digests are available there right now for listening, but you've probably already seen them. And then this one is currently on there. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to listen to it later on like a podcast or something, you can always download it. It should come out the same time as probably the video. Probably is when I upload the video on it'll be uploaded like the night before. Basically, it'll be like the podcast, and then the video comes out like that the next night is what I'm tentatively thinking. As I literally just thought of it as I'm recording this. I'm just like, when do I put that out? Yeah, I'll probably do it like the same time the patrons get it, which is usually the video. But you can get like the audio only, and then you can get the other. Anyway, so that's available for you right now if you want to resort to that. But otherwise, let's get started. Okay, first for the video that I thought was not good. Oh no. Oh. So, I went easy on this guy last time he was here. And then he put out the next one, and I was not as enthused. It's Breadsword, with his video on Howl's Moving Castle, an underrated masterpiece. So he has all the problems that I had with his Gurren Lagann video, with the first half of his Gurren Lagann video that I thought he made up for in his second half with a more introspective type of thing. And there's a little introspection in this too, but it's not as unique and personal, I guess, or interesting. It's kind of the this is my favorite movie I needed right now, which is what he starts with, but you don't really get why he starts with that intro until he kind of explains it at the end of this is the movie I needed right now, given the unrest and the pandemic and the isolation and all that stuff. I needed a movie that forcibly had a happy ending. And Howl's was that movie. And he touts it as the best Miyazaki movie, not even far from underrated. He doesn't say the word underrated until 38 minutes into this 46-minute video, where he says, all my friends, when we talk about our favorite Miyazaki movies, they rate this lower. Because my friend said it. And I guess it's true, though. It is kind of disrespected, I guess, in some regards to a lot of people. But a lot of people still like this movie, dude. I don't know. Anyway. But, that's not, my problem with it. God, it is so messy. He's going all over the place with a lot of different ideas, and he starts and stops things so often, and it's very rare when he's able to properly connect it to the idea that he's talking about, which is just Howls. He spends the first 10-ish minutes of this video talking about Miyazaki. He could not have disinterested me more in a video when he goes, Miyazaki was born in blah blah blah. No. You have not talked about Howls yet, but you're going to start with this and then explain his career up through Toei, and then speed run through his time at Ghibli. He just kind of rapid fires through all his other movies and then gets to Howls. And I think the reason is because he's explaining how Miyazaki is a lot of a Westaboo of sorts. He doesn't use that term, but he effectively, like, Miyazaki is very enamored with Western culture and like Norway and Sweden and visiting all these places. And a lot of his earlier work has more European type influences and styles and settings rather than Japanese. And it's a great point to make, but he doesn't really connect that to Howl's very succinctly until way later in the video, where he brings it up suddenly again, like after he had finished talking about it, and rapidly shifts to a different topic. And he keeps shuffling through, like, yeah, this was made during the Iraq War, and this is sort of a commentary on it. There's so many pieces to this, and he just picks up and then rapidly drops to another thing. There's this part where there's this the best part of the video for me is when he just drops all pretenses and just rambles through the stuff that he loves about this movie, like, and it's very little details here and there. I liked that because it was kind of, you can't really structure that. But there's so much of this video that's like, yeah, you could have just made everything about you talking about the war influence here, and then don't bring it up later very randomly, like sentence by sentence. I don't feel like there was very much structure to this at all, and it made for a very frustrating experience. And it doesn't help that it's not a very flattering visual component either, because he still has that let me dump as much media on you as possible, even when it doesn't have anything to do remotely with what I'm talking about, maybe just vaguely, like a little thing. But like, I like a lot of his individual points, but they don't have that much cohesion with each other. To me, it's just this sloppy mess, I think. And it was so frustrating. I want to say also, he has this really bad goof when he's talking about Miyazaki's history that I couldn't believe. And the fact that he's rapid firing through all of this makes it that, like, it's so much you probably wouldn't even notice, or a lot of his fans wouldn't even know, because this is just information they don't usually know, because his audience is probably a bunch of normies. He's definitely not catering to the anime community the same way. But he talks about how he started World Masterpiece Theater with Heidi, Dororo, and it started with Moomin, and he said it started with Moomin and a Dororo. Basically, he says Dororo is a World Masterpiece Theater show. Did you notice that when you're like, wait, Dororo? He says it's a World Masterpiece Theater show. That Tezuka manga adaptation that was made by Mushi Production way before Heidi, which was the first World Masterpiece Theater. Like, Moomin is based on a European novel series, the children's series, but that was not part of World Masterpiece Theater. Like the 69 Moomin, which he's not even showing the 69 Moomin, he's showing you the 90s Moomin, which it might be closer, maybe, to this World Masterpiece Theater group, because it's way more accurate. But he's showing the 90s Moomin when he's no. it's like little inaccuracies like that you wouldn't know if you weren't immersed in this stuff. And it's harmless in the grand scheme of things, but like, it's so hard to watch as someone who's into this stuff. It's so frustrating. And yeah, like I just couldn't get it. Couldn't stand it. I had to keep pausing. I was ranting this to Steve, like I was DMing Steven the whole time, like, fucking dude, I can't handle it. And it took me like an hour to watch this 40, more than an hour, actually, I would imagine. Way more than an hour. Because I kept pausing and was like, I can't believe it. What are you talking about? He like invents terms like the Miyazaki 3-shot. Have you heard of the Miyazaki 3-shot? I sure haven't. And it's just this observation that he finds in some of his movies. Not all of them, as you would notice if you watch his videos, like the first 4 films, even though he ignores Cagliostro, which he pimps in the video. Like, he's like, I love this movie. Here, like I was willing to forgive a lot of the shit early on because he pimped and pimped and simped. He was simping for Cagliostro so much, like he loves this movie to fucking bits. And I was very happy to see that as a Cagliostro fan. I was like, yeah, dude. But like that movie doesn't have what he's talking about as a Miyazaki 3 take. You just conveniently ignore that. What are you doing? I couldn't deal with it, dude. I really couldn't. It was really hard to stomach. Yeah, no, not good. Can't argue with that one this time. I'm drawing a line in the sand. I know people had disagreements with my take on his Gurren Lagann video, but I cannot. Nope, not this one. Not good. All right, let's take some request videos for the end of the month. I got 4 of them. Thanks for waiting. Let's talk about this first one, requested by Najbeb, talking about Sailor Moon, featuring Usagi, producer, Corita artist by KhalilsBible. Kali, I think, is the artist. It's just a single. I didn't look anything into this guy. I was just thrown my way because, I covered Rebel House's EP last week. And it's good. I listened to it twice. I like the energy, and it's a very rapid beat. He doesn't slow down in his flow. And I did look at the Genius lyrics, which I was very happy that he provided. And there's some interesting... it doesn't have too many like references or anything like that to Sailor Moon or Usagi that much. But I think he's using the character of Usagi and Sailor Moon to kind of paint this idea of like an imaginary waifu of sorts, and him kind of going after her, I guess. Nothing too cringy like Body Pillow and stuff like that. But there's a flow to it. There was an interesting kind of darker story behind it, but he has more of kind of a casual surface level energy to it. Not like in a bad way, but in a very accessible, like you can just put this on the background and it's a fun bop, like, ooh, this is fire, you know? Whereas I think there seems to be a little more of a sinister story going underneath, which is kind of cool. I like that juxtaposition a lot. But yeah, that was neat. I don't have too much else to say about it because it's just a single. But this is I like the tastefulness of this as a quote unquote anime rap song. It's not like name dropping a bunch of shit like the Inuyashas, you know. I think it's a little more tasteful like that, and more creative. I like the bravado of saying he doesn't need a chorus, but he still kind of has a chorus a little bit in the song, which is kind of neat. But yeah, sorry I don't have too much else to say about it, but I enjoyed that song for sure. The next request is from Doji, wanting to review a My Japanese Animes video. My Japanese Animes, me. And he's not really reviewing me so much as I felt he was recreating the experience of me, or kind of as a response to it. He has the whole bit of like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life, as the shut-in kind of guy dwelling in his basement with posters everywhere. And he has that observation of Asuka is like, I should take this poster. She's 14. I should probably take this poster down. And he like pans all around his room, and there's multiple posters of her, and his desktop has a wallpaper of her, and he's like, oh my god, what am I doing? It's like the self-realization aspect. I definitely should have expected that from Jess. Not necessarily referring to the anime itself, but making his own tangent out of it and kind of making his own thing. It's a very original. He's very original as an artist, and I really respect his artistry for it. I just can't get into it myself the same way a lot of other people do and respect him. I've seen the Horseshoe Saga and I the whole thing, and like I really respect that, and it's really great. But like, I don't know, it's not for me, I guess. It's like his humor is very edgy. It's not like I don't like that, but it just seems very overly juvenile to me. I feel like it's kind of aged a bit. The very big like I'm going to hell sort of vibe towards the end of the video was a little excessive. Not like oh bad or something. I was just like, it doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't like whoa or oh boy. I don't know. It's fine. I wish he did a little more with the actual referring to me, but he ends up just having it on screen, and it's fine. But yeah, I couldn't get into it as much. I respect the craft on display. I like a lot of the characters and certain references he pulls that are very much of his own experience. Very similar to Demolition D, where like it has it's that sense of humor that like is very spontaneous and original and not very surface level, I guess. And I respect his creative drive a lot, but I can see that it burns him out, I guess. I don't know. I'm hoping he's doing better. It's weird that he was so prevalent in this 2013, 2014, 2015 period, and then he hasn't, I don't know what he's doing. But maybe this is like the art that he was, him realizing what he was doing with his life, I suppose. I don't know. I respect it. But that was just my takeaway from it. It's like, you didn't really talk about me. You're just kind of using it as a backdrop of like, and kind of telling your own art out of it, which doesn't do stuff for me as much as all that, as like actually engaging with the art or adding to it, I suppose. Maybe making an AMV or something. It is super original. I'll say that, but it just doesn't do it for me as much. That's just my thing. But that's not a bad thing. I hate to keep piling on that sentiment, but yeah, that's as much as it was doing for me. Thank you for the request, though. Kuiper wanted me to talk about this AMV of sort by camhcom. This is not the greatest song in the world. You've probably seen this around in your recommended. I know I sure had, and I don't know. I just wasn't as interested in checking it out personally, but Kuiper got me to see it, and it's good. It is very impressive on a technical level with a lot of the not green screening, but like the masking that gets done here and integrating Tenacious D, the characters, and that particular footage with Evangelion. And there is a sonical combination that's happening too with a particular track from Eva that's it's not very on the nose or something. It's not like the Ava theme or something like that, but it is a track from Ava, marrying it with the song, the greatest song in the world, which I like, and I think it's definitely a real representation of the internet, I suppose, where they take two seemingly incredibly random different things and marrying them, and it's like peanut butter and jelly, and it's fucking great. I love song mashups to death, like fucking Paper Planes with A Boy Is a Gun from Tyler the Creator. I love that song, and like mixing September with a bunch of other songs like the Wii theme and the JoJo OP and stuff like that. I enjoy those mashups a ton, and so like this particular mashup as a song didn't really do it so much for me because the mix, the Ava's particular music, that selection, I think is buried a little too much into the Tenacious D song. I think it's mostly the Tenacious D song for me. I hate to be super critical of this. It just didn't do it for me the same way I think it's like the most epic, awesome thing, the greatest thing ever sort of deal. I think a lot of this is sort of selling itself as, and that a lot of people are touting it as, to me at least. I think that the most remarkable stuff is the things that they were able to do to mesh Jack Black with Evangelion, like having like in the end of Evangelion having the big head kind of split in half and like sinking into the ground there. It's Jack Black's face and stuff like that. There's very creative and impressive looking edits in there. But it's all meant for it. I think to me it still feels that vibe of a shitpost, and I like shitposts. I like them a ton, but it's also, but like I like them that like that it doesn't, that it I just feel like this was taken too far. It's like the SpongeBob anime where it's like, that's a funny idea, but to see it actually be made as an episode of sorts, very legit, it doesn't do it for me as much. It's just like, and it starts to make me look at it with more scrutiny, I suppose. That's kind of where this was towing the line for me personally, to go kind of beyond the joke and taking a little too seriously. But I am impressed with a lot of the edits for sure, and the narrative, not the narrative marriage, I guess, because it is just kind of two different things that I don't know, like they're able to sync it with like, Misato saying a lyric that Jack Black is singing or something like that, and it makes it look like there's a connection when it's like, it's just cool, it's just funny. But that's kind of what it felt like to me. I also like the using Ray as the demon that shows up in the song of the Tenacious D song, where it's like this person arrived and keeps getting called back to into the video, and at the end it's like Ray playing a guitar. It looks very silly, but it feels like it's integrated in a way that feels like it has thematic significance, or like whoa, so deep sort of thing, to me at least, or like I don't know, it evokes that sort of feeling, which like it's funny, but that's about it. It's funny. Sorry to be a lot more critical of these these videos, and when they requests, I guess, but like, yeah, that's just kind of what it felt like to me. It's cool. It's impressive. That's about it though. It's just like, yeah, that's a thing, I guess. You know, it doesn't like resonate to me where I'm like, wow, I loved that or something like that. But yeah, I'm happy you requested that for sure. It's definitely something that gets circulated around a lot, that is worth covering in some capacity. And last is a request from Flugmorph, wanting me to talk about a Gigguk video, trying to understand the Fate series. This is from 2 years ago, and it's more of a sketch for Gigguk, but he definitely interlaces like the actual, like this would be a legit video, but I think he found this as more of a engaging way to make this point of the Fate series is ridiculous and it's canon, and where do you start, and these are different characters, and kind of the zaniness of the franchise that I think a lot of people relate to. It might be riddled with inaccuracies or hyperboles where it's like, oh, that's actually, he's incorrect in this places. I don't know anything about the Fate series other than I've seen Fate Zero. That's it. I'm not at all invested in the series, so like I couldn't tell you what's wrong or right about it, but I do think he is vocalizing a very valid complaint and frustration that newcomers have, or just that people in general I feel like have about Fate. That's just kind of funny that I think a lot of the Fate fans do understand, thankfully, and acknowledge, if they have any self-awareness. That's the word. If they have any self-awareness, it's like, yeah, it's very convoluted and confusing, and like you have to consume this big visual novel, and that's however many hours, and there's so many different spin-offs and alternate universes. It's like, and that is, I feel like there is an appeal to that, and I think people like that about the Fate series. I would imagine, otherwise it's like, that's not a bug, it's a feature sort of deal, maybe. I'm just trying to find a bright side to this, because it's not a great situation, personally. I am also turned off by this franchise because of this reason. I saw Fate Fate Zero, because a lot of people like that singularly as an all-time favorite of theirs. So I wanted to see what that was about, and I got it, and it is fine. It's fine. I don't know how much of consuming this thing would make me change my mind. I don't know. And I would only, the only way to find out is to do it. And I've done that for other series like Gintama, where I've seen all of it, waiting for it to be good, waiting for me to like it, and it never came. And yes, that's kind of my feelings on it. I really like that the experimentation he did here, though. I think it was a really good choice to make this a sketch and have him play two different characters. The two different characters is very sketch-like, like internet sketchy, with like, Caleb City or ProZD, where they're playing all the characters, right? Or Phil, not Philly D, but like Phil on Twitter. I don't know. He has really great sketches. But that's a lot of like internet humor where you're playing all the characters. It's like Rakugo, actually. The more that I think about it, it's actually really interesting. But I like that he tried this, and I think it's great. I don't know how many more videos he did imitating this style, but I think it was really good. I think he did a good job with it, and vented a very valid frustration. I'm repeating myself. Thank you for requesting it. That was good. Alrighty ho, let's talk about some videos that I thought were decent. Pretty good. It was very funny. The entire first year of AniTube Digest, not one time did I talk about akidearest. Oh, I completely forgot to tell you about that other thing that's in the description, but I'll save that for the end of it. Anyway, akidearest. Yeah, finally get to talk about one of the most subscribed anime YouTube channels on YouTube. Don't know why. I've been subscribed, and I look at every one of her uploads to be like, do I want to watch this? Not really. But I guess I don't know why I never really engaged with one of her monthly otaku favorites, which is a long ongoing series of hers. She does this every month, so I could have talked about them at any time. But I don't know. I just thought that her talking about Uzaki-chan could have been somewhat interesting. Not that I have any sway in the conversation in that regard, but I don't know. I was like, oh, maybe that would be interesting. Maybe I could finally talk about her, about her channel and her content. And I like this. So sorry, but I can't watch this anime anymore is the name of the title. But the title just doesn't matter. It's her weekly, because I guess it's a detriment. I guess people are just not going to click on it if it has the actual content of the video in it, which is monthly otaku favorites, which is the monthly series she does where she just talks about the media she's consumed that month. It could be it's books, it's anime, it's toys that she bought, like various things that she found in some stores when she was shopping, and she's like, this is a really cool product and stuff like that. And like, I can imagine some people not liking that. I think it's like, oh, you're just kind of shilling this stuff. And she talks about how like she got a like Viz sent her a copy of Junji Ito's No Longer Human, which made it really feel like an ad. Which I guess it technically was, but she didn't really specify that. But she says that right before talking about it, sort of deal. So it did cater that impression. But like, and her opinions are very normal. Like, it feels like a regular fan. It's not like someone who's consumed a bunch or is over the hill in terms of things and have become a critic or something like that. Like I think a lot of YouTubers find themselves in that position. Hello. Pot calling the kettle black. Talking about other people's videos. But like, I really liked Aki's personable aperture. I'm inventing words now. Her nature, I think is really like approachable and regular. But I think that's great and appealing to YouTubers as consumers, I guess, as a someone who watches YouTube videos. I don't know, YouTube audiences, like regular people, and she's very much of a regular person in this regard. So I like her approach in that way. I do think she's kind of clickbaiting the Uzaki-chan thing. She really just has no race in it, in terms of no horse in the race, in terms of like caring about that whole controversy and thing. She just doesn't like it. Just like, it's not funny. The other characters, it's not that great looking and whatever. And yeah, it's like, yeah, that's I expected as much. But like, I like the idea of you making a video out of the stuff that you happen to be consuming that month, and it made me have the feeling of like that would be great for me, because like I think a lot of like anime YouTubers in our sphere and stuff like that, we have that unfortunate side effect of everything we consume, we think, how can I turn this into content? Right? And it's not healthy, because then we're not paying attention and we're not enjoying ourselves. So we can get burnt out from that. And it sucks when that happens, I think. So like, I like that Aki kind of found a happy middle ground where it's a safe space of sorts where she's able to kind of have that outlet to talk about these, to make content out of the things that she's doing. But it's way lower stakes, and it's in a safe environment that's not like you have to say something. I don't feel like Aki really like gets to the heart of whatever she's talking about. I think it's just a lot of interesting little observations and very surface level and low stakes, and it's very vloggy in that way. But I don't really know very many people doing this as concentrated and like polished as she is. Not in terms of the observations, but in terms of the structure. And doing it monthly and kind of like, developing a rhythm to it with timestamps and transitions and little cards that she's make, which she's like books, and she has like a filmed title card of sorts. It's actually really nice. So like I like this sort of low stakes video. I like this. That's pretty much it. I actually really like this. Digibro and Digineé talked about the true heart of Shirobako, making a video out of their rewatch of Shirobako, and it is Digibro narrating it. May to further clarify in case people don't fully get the lore in that way. But Digibro's narrating and Digineé is, I think, writing it, I imagine. Because like when they were that was what they were saying at the beginning, and then like when I was rewatching it with Digibro, but then I always have to remember it's like, oh, they switched monikers basically, so it's like they're writing it, but she's talking. It's like Digibro talks is like, I watched it when Digibro says I watched it with Digibro. It's weird, right? Isn't that kind of weird to me? It's like, oh, and so like that's where I'm still kind of like lost on the divide of how this is like split apart in terms of when it comes to a dual collab, like two people working on the same video, like two halves. When you have one person writing it, one person voicing and performing it, and who's editing it? I think it's Digibro editing it. That's what I mean. It's sort of a bit of a source of confusion to me personally. But to actually address the meat of the video, it's a nice video in Shirabako's this particular character that is very silly and causes a lot of problems, but it actually kind of represents a lot of the, I don't know, it didn't really pull my attention the whole way, and I was super engaged with it personally, but like it's kind of how he's the true heart of Shirobako, I suppose. I'll be honest, and it's like, it wasn't doing too much for me content wise, but I do like that they're talking more analytically now still, and they're kind of picking that ball up and they're going with it. So I enjoyed that. I'm sorry if I don't have too much else to say about it. Everything else seemed fine. It's just that that's lingering source of confusion for me. I'm sorry if I'm just a big dum-dum when it comes to that. What would it be? Hey, it's Sloan, your female otaku, talking about liking an underage anime character does not make you a criminal. Rant! And, walking into another Sloan video, I keep watching her videos and end up not having too much to say about them, or just not having the motive to finish them personally. It's not like there's anything outright poor about them. They just don't. I just, what it be sometimes when it comes to media, right? But this one especially caught my attention right out the gate when it's not her like editing over footage or something like a lot of her videos, but she's sitting down in a chair and ranting to the camera off the cuff, off. Yeah, it's really cool. I was actually really happy to see it because there's way more of an energy and a bite to it that I don't really see in a lot of her other content. And I think it only goes so far because it does boil down to it's fiction. It's fiction. And it kind of reiterating the same points with different characters. But I like the honest conversation. It really feels like it's coming from a genuine place of frustration with the community, where it's like, this is what we're focusing on, this is what we're whining about, and this is what's causing a lot of butt hurt and a lot of angst in the community that just isn't that warranted. And just like, look, I cosplay as these characters, and this is where my thought process in going into choosing to do that. And I have these other characters I love, and it's like, I'm not actually attracted to, that does not mean this, like X does not mean Y sort of deal. So like, yeah, I liked that side of her in terms of like really coming after a certain idea and being more of a ranting and off the cuff. I thought she did a decent job with it. Only so far. I just think that the energy is worth the investment in terms of watching this for yourself. I think it's like, I don't know, I like the attack she goes after it, and I would have liked to see more rants, actually. I think there could be more meaningful conversation here. I think there is meaningful conversation in this video, but it can only be so focused and only so much when it's in this format. I think when it's like, it's the same thing with like, if someone else is doing AniTube Digest with like, I know that like on Otaku I gave some of those like best video, quote unquote, but that was just because I'm flattered, I guess. But that was actually also more scripted and more planned than this. But if someone was doing exactly what I was doing, I'd probably be like, yeah, that's about it. I'd give my own digests a decent. It's what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm just trying to justify it so much. I don't know. I really liked the rant though. I seriously, I'm happy that she talked about it, and and it's Sloan talking about it, and not just one of these like Hero Hey or drama filled channels sort of deal. I think it's from a different perspective, and that's great. Someone who makes more concentrated content and also cosplays and really engages with the community and not just kind of sits on the peanut gallery and points and laughs at it. Like, she actually is engaging with these people, and it's like, this sucks that this ends up being a conversation, and it's impeding us from really enjoying it in other ways, I suppose. I don't know, I thought it was a very honest conversation, and I liked that it was coming from her. BlackCriticGuy is another Hallmark kind of, not Hallmark I guess, but like very long-term anime YouTuber, a little more of a media YouTuber, I guess, at this point, because he hasn't done anime too much recently. But he's doing Beastars, and it's a Beastars review. What it be? And I think this might have been the first time I've watched one of his videos in full personally. I was never really a long-term fan of his or something, and that's just because the observations I wasn't totally clicking with, and his character. It's not a very like acted character or something like that, but his delivery is very animated and a little on the nose. Like, he literally in this video was like, I was amazed but also frustrated. Like, and he makes these exact poses, and like a lot of, like, he acts his script out, and it's cool. It's kind of neat, but it just, to me, it was very corny. It's just like, oh, huh. I don't know. That's just, to me, it wasn't doing it for me personally. But it's very of the time. It feels like this video could have come out in 2011 when he was making. I feel like he was. I don't know if he was making videos all the way back then. I feel like he was. I could probably look at his channel right now. And he might have like unlisted videos too, but I know he's been around for a while, and he does feel like that. He kind of has that same vibe of like Bob Samurai, where he's like, he has the same cadence he's had for a while, and it's comfortable. 7 years ago, at least as the first video that's still public, so that's 2012. Yeah, I was kind of close. Yeah, 7 years ago. Yeah, I think I was there. But yeah, that's my feelings on it, I guess. It's just a Beastars review, and like, it's not like this isn't so much of like, oh, he thought this character was this and I don't like that or something. It's like, it's his opinion, really. He's not really spreading any hardcore misinformation or anything like that. It's not so much concrete information either. It's really just his opinion, which is, it's like, yeah, that's a review. But, a lot of people put in, they take into account a lot of background information or production history when they're making reviews. So sometimes that's a factor. Objective information is sometimes a factor in reviews, and this has very little of it. But maybe that's just out of safety for him. So it's like, no one can really go after me, at least fairly. Where it's like, yeah, it's just my opinion. But it's like, yeah, he gives it a rating at the end. It's worth watching, and it's very low stakes, I feel. But it's really just a generic anime review of Beastars. Nothing super remarkable about it. I think he is very affable. I like that he talked about. He was mentioning some other creators. Like, he's like, oh, I saw that JoJo Talks Too Much was raving about this anime on Twitter, and so that got me to watch it. So I like that personability about it too. He seems like a good guy. But it only does so much for me personally. But I for what it's worth, I liked it. And it's also very minimal editing. I'm sure there are takes. I'm sure that it's cut. But it felt like it was, I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't feel as polished personally. He uses a little bit of clips, but it's a lot of still images. And still images aren't inherently a bad thing. But I don't know. It just... There's ways to go about it without. It's whatever. It's not like a flaw, quote unquote, but it's what it be. It doesn't do what I'm saying. I guess what that's leading to is more of like, it doesn't do it for me as much visually. It's not engaging with me visually, so I end up like making lunch or something as I'm listening to it, sort of deal. That's kind of what it felt like to me. But I'm happy to finally talk about him. because he very, very rarely is talking about anime specifically, and I would rather catch him on him doing that than any of his other movie reviews. But he seems to be a little more active nowadays, so that's good. I remember he had like a very long hiatus of sorts. It felt like he wasn't making anything. So it's nice to see him back, I suppose. I got a video recommended to me from ExtremeSManpig. This was recommended from Fall Shepherd. That feeling of longing, my relationship with Shinkai films. And he's talking about pretty much all the Shinkai work, the major Shinkai work, and his thoughts on it. He's more of a visual novel YouTuber, so like he wasn't really on my radar, but they sent me the video my way, and I liked it. It's very personable. I like the approach he's coming from. I liked hearing his story about first seeing Your Name, like the first work he saw. It was in the order in which he saw it, which I also liked. I also liked that where it felt more unique in that way, and not like very robotic in chronological order of his work. That order complements the fact that this is completely from his personal relationship. As it says, my relationship with Shinkai films makes sense. And I think it creates a very low stakes and like just his personal thoughts and observations about it, and not trying to make any technical merits or like bold statements. I think the boldest statement he makes is like Garden of Words has the single best use of atmosphere in an anime that he has seen. And that's cool. That's a cool observation. It doesn't do much for me, but that doesn't have to. I'm just saying it's like he very much couches it as his personal thoughts, and I think that contributed to it greatly in enjoying the video for me. And he liked pretty much all of them. I think he does voice some problems with Place Promised in our early days and a little bit of Children, Let's Chase Lost Voices, because he very much articulates his preferences with Shinkai. I think he really likes the tone, that emotion that it carries with longing, and not so much. He talks a little bit about escapism here. A couple of videos here I've talked a little bit about escapism here and there, crazy enough. But his take on escapism, I think, is like a lot of people take it as happy and like, which is actually what Breadsword does in his Howls video. He actually is like, I didn't even talk about that other Breadsword, the Breadsword video, how he just suddenly goes woke for a second either. It's like, anyway, I couldn't even, whatever. But yeah, Extreme's video, I liked that I liked the tone that he was setting, and it was complimenting Shinkai's work and the feeling that he likes. And I like that personable, like, it makes me want to make something. The Voices of a Distant Star is his other favorite. Like his top two is 5 centimeters per second and Distant Star. And I think Distant Star less for the short itself and more for the technical marvel that it represents as one guy making the whole thing, practically the whole thing. And it's very inspiring in that way. On top of having really great atmosphere and this feeling of detachment and longing and relationships distancing themselves. So I really liked that positive take from Shinkai. It's not something you see too often because I think it's very easy to lampoon or go after the guy. But yeah, I really enjoyed he does voice his recent work with Tenki no Ko and Your Name. They have more of a softening of that auteur, not as popular edge that Shinkai has that he likes, where in these first two shorts, I don't remember the proper chronology of like his work, but I think it's voice, it's cat voice and 5 centimeters is the next one, I'm pretty sure. But like those two there, they have this like they have this atmosphere of, we don't care if the audience likes this, we're going to express it. He keeps bringing up this idea of making something that only one person's going to like, and he's that one person sort of deal. And I'm like, that's cool. I actually really like that. It reminds me a lot of Technolize. Stuff that I like saying about Technolize is it doesn't care if you like it or not. It's just going to go. It's just going to do its thing. And you can either appreciate it or really fuck with it or just forget about it. No, you either got it or you ain't. Yeah, but I think Technolize would probably be up this guy's alley too if he's seen it. I'm not sure. Not because it has the exact. It's a lot more brutal than Shinkai. But I think for that same merit of like, making that thing that not a lot of audiences are going to automatically like, I think he might like this. And also the idea of one person making most of the film, I think he might also fuck with, if he happens to see this, I don't know. He might also really fuck with Ongaku. Ongaku R Sound, Ongaku R Sound. And it came out, it's a movie, came out last year, and it's a mostly rotoscoped film that was like made over the course of 7 years by one guy. Like obviously there's there's different voice actors, and there's music by different people, and there are people that helped him with some of the drawing, but like he pretty much had a hand in drawing all of it, which is insane. And it's also a manga adaptation, that's the other thing. But like it's fantastic, and it has that same spirit of like one guy making this and super passion project. It's awesome. So I recommend that as well. But yeah, I really dug this. Thank you for making that. That was cool. I watched another KHANTEHNT. I just love the when they talk about not seasonal stuff. I really only tune in when it's that, because it's something different and something interesting to me, at least. So Ninja Collection is a collection of nightmares, but not the good kind. And this is Tales from the Bottom series, which I've talked about in Digest before. Talking about like the lowest ranked on Mal in a given season, which in this case was this one Ninja Collection, which I guess is part of the Yami Shibai series or a spinoff of it or sort of similar to it. And I think they said that the rating is mostly warranted, not in the way that like it's so brutally low for Mal or something that like it should be a 1 or something, but more like it's a 3 on Mal. It is a 3 in real life. It's like, yeah, it's not great. It has a little bit of merits here and there, but and this is the first video that I saw of theirs in their new style, I guess, where it's 2 cameras and Best Guy Ever is mostly behind a green screen and Digi is half. There's like a sixth of the green screen in Digi's shot, and they're kind of showing some clips behind that green screen, but I realized a little ways into it, it's just kind of a loop of the same collection of clips, which I'm not the biggest fan of, because it's like that's a missed opportunity for me. I think there definitely could have been opportunities to really show what you're talking about behind them as they're talking about it, which is a kind of an interesting dynamic. And I can't immediately come to mind something that does that in that specific kind of slap shot casual way that I think would be really engaging. So it's like, because it's just the same looping of clips over and over behind that green screen, I completely forgot the utility of the green screen just gets lost to me, right? It's just I've already seen what's on the screen several times, so I'm just gonna focus. It's as if you don't have the green screen there at all, to me at least. I like the setup, but I just don't think it was utilized the way it could be. And maybe it is in other places. Maybe other videos you paid more attention to what you're showing on the green screen as it's going, and this one is just, it's whatever. It's 4-minute shorts, who gives a fuck? I get that sentiment. It just didn't do it for me. It's like, oh well, that's too bad for this particular video. But it's another KHANTEHNT video. They go by really quick, actually. It doesn't feel like 20 minutes with these guys. Digi and Best Guy Ever have really great dynamic, and they only keep building it more and more the more they talk about this stuff. I think they've been doing it for like 3 years now. Like KHANTEHNT started in 2017 effectively with Digi and Nate talking about Made in Abyss. So it's crazy. Sorry, it's crazy that like that they're still it's been so long actually, and but it doesn't. It's not like they've talked so much about so much content at this point. Actually, there's been a lot of hiatuses and things. But it just goes to show how long and also they've just been friends for so long, right? Even before they started making this KHANTEHNT type content. But I really enjoyed this, of course. I like their observations for sure. And cool. I'm probably always going to tune into a Tales from the Bottom. Also because I've also voiced about the genius of the concept, where it's not like it's what Nate says in the other one that I saw, where it's like, yeah, we could just say it's bad and go die, but let's give it a fair shake, compliment it where it needs to be, where it should be complimented, and not just shit all over it. And I really like the conversation they have here. It's great. They do really good stuff here. Happy to see it. Okay, let's talk about the best videos of the week. These are some doozies, dude. Actually, I think they're really good. This is what I was talking about when it comes to a media company like Funimation or Crunchyroll or Sentai. This is exactly what I was looking for. Like, it's huge, by the way. And the reason it's actually so big, I would say, is because it has multiple segments that are 20 minutes long. It's like they basically had their own panel, but in online form and accessible to people. They have 4 different interviews with the creators of the anime that they're showcasing. So, like, they license rescued Moribito. And instead of making such a big deal about license rescuing Moribito, which is kind of the newsworthy thing, they have a 20-minute interview with the director, Kenji Kamamiya. That's off the top of my head. But it's the director of Moribito. And they talk about, like, it's been 10 years or however long it's been since this came out. And he talks for 20 minutes about it. I didn't watch all of it because it's like, oh, it's 11 a.m. and I have to record Digest. And, oh, that's a lot of hour-long videos. Or just big videos that I have to watch. So I skipped through. I admittedly, this is one of the few videos on Digest where I skipped through a lot of it. But I looked through all of it just to really understand the sentiment behind it and kind of what they're doing here. And it's fantastic. There's very few technical gaffes or any awkward moments. And I thought there was a lot of production put behind it. They interview some of their ADR directors, and they have like a little 10 questions thing for 3 of the ADR directors. And it's mostly harmless, like, what's your favorite coffee or something. But there's a couple like little things of like, what was the first production you worked on? And they're like, I don't know. Or like, oh, it's this show. It's about this thing. And some obscure whatever. And that was kind of cool. And the weird thing, though, is like as much I like the interviews and the highlight reels for the shows that are on High Dive and some of their product releases. Like, they showed off like their collector's edition for Ryu Starlight, and they had a posh commercial where they're showing everything and showing all the angles of it, and it gets this included and all this stuff and everything, like a real posh like little teaser for their thing, and not just one static picture. They do it a couple times, and that was great to see, and really selling you their product. Thank you. Oh my god. And not just saying this thing is coming out or something. But as much as I like a lot of their segments and how valuable that was, there wasn't too many big named, like, real big, like, announcements, I felt. Like, the biggest things is they license rescued Moribito, and Made in Abyss, the movie, is getting an online sort of release, like a little limited run on the web, which is awesome. And I don't know why they didn't say that in this video, Sentai at Home. Like, I guess that was a tweet that went out. I don't know if they couldn't confirm that in time for this video. I don't know why it wasn't in here. That was kind of the only weird thing about it. For me, it's like, oh, they don't announce that? Or maybe I missed it when I was skipping through a bunch of the interviews. I really only skipped the interviews. I was not going to listen to a 25-minute interview with the creators of Origairu. I'm just not. I'm not interested. It would be a waste of my time. I wouldn't be mentioning it on Digest. I would only say that they had this long interview with these people, which is the cool part. I like the sentiment behind it. I'm not going to actually engage with it personally. I don't know. I don't think that's such a big deal. But yeah, like, that was so well done. And I personally want to make something like that for Discotheque. They're going to resort to just making the PowerPoint like they always do and kind of the live thing. That's what they're comfortable with. And also, like, you know, an effort like this is a gargantuan effort that, like, people should be paid adequately for. There's multiple AMVs here of, like, their highlight reels and stuff, which is way better than just showing a PV. Oh my god, it's infinitely better. You could tell which trailers that they edited and which ones were just the static Japanese PV. You could tell. And they were always way better, actually. And I thought they did a great job of selling a lot of their titles that they had access to. But a lot of them are synced to this dubstep or EDM or something, right? And I'm sure they have to pay royalties for that, or they're gonna, I don't know, find this stuff that's free or I don't know. There needs to be people. This is a paid effort here, right? Oh, I should also mention the host. I forget her first name, but it's Rial is her last name. So I'm like, it looks like Monica Rial's younger sister or someone related, or maybe they're not related. I don't know. But she seemed to be a voice actress, and she was introducing everything as it was going, and she's put in different situations with different shirts and advertising stuff. You can watch it on high, like she was literally going like on high dive. I'm like, that's good, that's clever, that makes sense. And she was wearing a Big O shirt when she was talking about Mecha and other stuff like that. And it's like, this is well done, really well produced. It's not just a fucking slide, whatever. But like I was saying, I really would want to make something like this for Discotheque, but it is a paid effort and they don't have that money. Would it be very fair? But like, oh man, that would have been so cool. Anyway, this is the fucking gold standard. This is what Funimation needs to do if they're going to do something like that. If they want to do something like this again, they need to do it like Sentai has set the bar. I really hope other companies actually match that. I guess Crunchyroll is doing a whole expo, and that still hasn't happened yet. So that's coming. We'll see what happens there, but I don't know. They have good production in the past, but we'll see what happens, I suppose. This was great, though. Seriously. Really good job. I really liked this MrDanteDavid video about Oreimo 10 years later. And it's just kind of a review of Oreimo, really. It's not so much of a retrospective or in hindsight or something. Though I will say, it was great that he had the full perspective of the series, light novel, video games, franchise, and all. And the reason he was making this video is realizing the impact that it did have on the industry in terms of like influence and further titles that were created, and started to kind of rebirth the Syscon sort of trend. And I'm not a big I'm not into that at all. And I haven't seen this show, but his enthusiasm for it and really appreciating the artistry on display. Like, this is a really well-aged show for 2010. It does not look like it came out in 2010. It doesn't have that aged quality to it. It actually really holds up visually, I think. And he's complimenting the music a lot, and really taking it to town in terms of like, yeah, this is a really important show. And it's like, wow, respect for this like meme and like everyone cringes at now, and it's a cliche at this point. And he's not like touting it as big classic or something, but like he really is giving it respect and coming at it as a fan, or I guess former fan in terms of having seen it when it came out, I guess. And he really articulated that it's like the first season did all these things really well, and this was what was interesting about it and what made it successful. And then when the second season happened, that's when everyone was really starting to go against it, and it was doing things. It's like, oh, why are we doing this? Like, you're actually leaning into this. He's an actual Syscon. He's calling himself a Syscon. Where I guess in the first season that wasn't even a thing, and it's completely different. And so that was really interesting, and it's insight on the show that I had never had before. I had never seen it. I came into the fandom a little later after Emo. But I like that he talked about it so positively, and I was actually really convinced to watch this. Not immediately. I actually kind of want to save it as like my 700th completed or something, like kind of like as a goal mark, I suppose, just because it seems so interesting from that perspective, just kind of historically of how important the show is, and like you should see it from this perspective, and not from a perspective of like, oh, shitty fan service, oh, it's incest, which like it's very easy to boil that down to, and it very much is those things. Like, and I like that he talked about that the author wanted to go that route, but he cops out, and that's what a lot of people didn't like about it, because it's like you're gonna ignore all these other characters that you're building up, and you're choosing this, but then not going all the way with it. And so you're not pleasing anybody. You're not pleasing the people who don't want you to do incest, period. Definitely not. But you're not pleasing the people that potentially might want to go that route. Not like they would engage with it themselves, but it's like this is media. This is just like the thing that they like seeing the dynamic of as a fantasy, as fiction. and not something actually engaging with. It's, but like, as someone who has seen Koikaze and really enjoyed that as a very brutal, realistic depiction of the reality of the crushing reality of this, it's like, no, this is not good. This is, and this is more glorifying it, I suppose. But I like that perspective he brought to it, where it was like, yeah, this is why a lot of people weren't really fucking with it, because they didn't go all the way, and the author had said that was what they wanted to do, but the publisher just denied them. So it's like, I don't, to me, it's like, why would you go to it in the first place? And it's like, I guess he tried, and I guess that's what's important about it, and it was successful. It is notable in that way. But like, I just really like seeing that, when it comes to a show being defended, I guess that normally has a lot of ridicule. If this was just like a retrospective of how shitty Orihime was, right? I wouldn't give a fuck, right? I just think this is really interesting from him to make, and it was well made too. So yeah, I was very surprised by it. I really liked it. I was very happy to see this. Good job. I am so happy I waited till now to talk about the Trash Taste tournament arc. Whoo, man. I watched it live. I was so into it those few days they were during the tournament, that like I would watch Connor on my desktop, and I would have the other stream, like, even if it wasn't him playing, like, I just loved his commentary. And I think that was what, they comment here where it's like, you had an extraordinary number of views compared to the official chess stream too. He's like, yeah, I've never had that many views. I don't know why. That's because I think you were very engaging. They wanted to see your take as a former chess pro. So I think that was the dynamic a lot of people wanted to see, and I certainly wanted to. And I was definitely in your corner a lot of the time, just because you're the most engaging one to watch, to me personally. Also the one kind of expected to win, but didn't. Like, I could not believe how well this went, as like a form of entertainment, as like a narrative that you guys strung, as like they recorded their perspectives, and you had it in this one video, this special. You have yourselves record with each other, talking about it beforehand, before any of it happened, and then have it play out in the aftermath. It's so great. I was so happy to watch this. It is a lot of reliving a lot of things that I had seen myself, so I did skip around a good deal. But I was there. I was fucking there, watching that shit. It was so clutch. It was so engaging and really fun. And I'm so happy to see that on Twitch too, because I don't think a lot of us are on Twitch in a similar capacity to our anime content. Like, I think it's a side hustle for a lot of us. It's like something else to do as a creative outlet. But it's very difficult to find a anime related thing to do on Twitch, which I'm hoping to kind of do some stuff about. And myself, I'm looking to do that because I like the idea, and it's a very untapped market. But I'm very happy that you guys brought a lot of people over and gained a lot of followers on Twitch in that way, and hopefully do more stuff with that. I think it's very, very strong outlet that you guys could do. And hopefully you do a season 2. That'd be great. I think everybody else who participated was very engaging too. I liked I did watch Connor and John give their shitty anime takes. That was really funny. I feel like a lot of the narratives that were in this tournament arc, like, Connor having food poisoning and them having their anime takes. It was present in the video, but it wasn't like as present, I think, as it was when we were watching it live, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there could have been more time put into but it's such a gargantuan thing. They're just giant streams, and like, how do you really cobble together this multiple perspectives and tell this story like this? I get it's a kind of a gargantuan task, so it shouldn't be too hard on whoever was editing this. But like, yeah, that was just the whole thing for me. It was like, wow, the experience itself I loved, but this video is just the crystallization of that experience. So I'm very happy you made something like this, and it went off so fucking successfully. Again, I think it's great when you guys are collaborating, not just with yourselves, but with other YouTubers too. And that was awesome to see. And it was just a really fun, engaging event. I loved it. Can't gush about it enough. Seriously. Sick. Hey, you got there right in the nick of time, because I watched Mother's Basement's Made in Abyss video the whole way through, and it's fine. I had heard that it was something a little different and experimental for him, but I just felt it was a little unfocused, and I couldn't really follow what the point of it was, and it wasn't super engaging on a visual level that much, even though it's like it's hard to visualize something like that. So I don't know, it wasn't as punchy for me. But I heard this video was down the pipe, and Nice was like, "Am I gonna make it for Digest?" And I'm like, "I record on Monday." And then he's like, "I don't know. I guess next week." But he really wanted to be in this week and whatever. But you made it. It's a surprise because I recorded later because I had so many videos to fucking make to watch. But yeah, fucking Great Pretender is con art. That was a really cool video. It's just Mother's Basement gushing about this show, really selling you on it, and I think he does a great job with it. I don't know. It's not as like, it's also similarly unfocused and like it's multiple different things, I guess. But there's a couple of narrative threads through, but what really saves it and really highlights it is Nice's editing here. It's so fucking great in terms of the. I thought the split screen thing was going to be a gimmick you have in the beginning of the video, but it's the whole video. And it's used in so many different ways to draw in an audience's focus and to reinvent a lot of these visuals. And it's not just clip selection. And it's very engaging and really cool. It's like, I would love to do that with one of my own videos or try it myself, but it'd just be copying off of this or something. And I was like, maybe this could be a recurring thing, but it's so singular to this video sort of deal. But it was so freaking great. I loved it. I don't know what else to say about it. It was so engaging. And there was one little thing. I don't know why you used the dub in one section or a couple sections of the video, but then later on, I think it's only one scene, do you use the sub? Is it because the dub's not out yet? Why didn't you just use the sub for the whole video? Why is it? It was a little inconsistent. It's like, if you're going to make that decision, choose one, I guess. I when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I hope I don't do that for my Gurren Lagann video. I use some of the dub for some mashup stuff, but I'm pretty sure I stuck with the sub for that one. But yeah, no, it's like, you know what it is, where it's like, if you're going to choose a language, stick with it sort of deal. So it's not like, I don't know, it's not a big deal, but it's something I noticed, I guess. But it's not whatever. But yeah, I was very impressed with this. And I'm just like that. I just love to hear good Jeff gushing about it, stuff like this, and not like really try to dive deep into something and really get the meaning of something. I don't know what it is. It's just a little more simple and easy to follow. Whereas I glaze over so hard on his Made in Abyss video. I like that he was doing different stuff, and I'm happy to hear that he's trying different things in that regard, but I couldn't see what was so different about it to me. It was just a little more amorphous and unfocused for me personally, and I thought it was starting to go a little too headcanon-y, and like he's talking something about love or something like, and like I don't know, I couldn't follow it personally, but that's just me being a dum-dum, a very infamous dum-dum of local dum-dum here, and I'm sure it's a pretty good video, and I saw people were like convinced to watch Made in Abyss, which was cool. I liked that. Also, it's an ad. I'm sorry this is about both videos. It just happens to be what I watched both videos. What it be? But I liked this video for Great Pretender. Seriously, I'm not as like really enticed to watch it personally. A, because I don't think it's over yet, but also it's just aesthetically it looks fine. I don't know, but I really liked how much that Jeff talked about it in such an engaging, positive way. I'm always gonna be behind that sort of content 100%, especially if Nice is kicking ass on the editing and really doing some fancy good shit. When Jeff says, he's like, I hope Great Pretender is speaking for itself to sell you on it. It's like, yep, Nice is ensuring that. He's definitely making it so that it makes me want to watch it, because on its own, like I said, when I saw the PV, it was like, it looks fine, looks cool, I guess. But Nice was really killing it with this and was making like really sick, I think. So that was fantastic on both on a dual collab front. I think it was really great. Seriously. But it's not the best video of the week. I'm sorry, Nice. Not this time. Because, you know, if it was next week, if you put this video after I saw it and I recorded it and I missed it and maybe I talk about it next week, maybe it would have been best. But you came out the same week as a STEVEM video. And not just any STEVEM video. I probably said this 4 fucking times about his content, dude. This is annoying. But I swear he has not made a better video than this. The Satoshi Kon problem. It's his Satoshi Kon video of the same thing he kind of did with Miyazaki and other talents, I think. But this was going through the guy's whole career, start to finish, through his death. And he just read the guy's final letter, like his public final words, I think all the way through, maybe abridged a little bit, but like that was all of it. That was the whole ending of the video. And then he has his conclusion where he thanks his patrons. Like a third of the video is quotes. That's such big dick energy. There's so many things about this that are big dick energy. Okay. Third of the video, if not half, I don't know. It's stupid how much he is quoting here. Not in a bad way. I mean, there's so many times where he starts talking in the first person, and then you realize it's a quote, and he's able to put some stuff on the quoting on screen. The typesetting is insanely good in this video. I am so bad at text in fucking videos. I was so mad when I was like, shit, it's so good. Why can't I be better? Fuck. Oh, it's so good. But like, of course, but then the other big dick energy is STEVEM is part animator. He is an animator in this, and it has a lot of his art that he is creating out of reference, for sure. For a good deal probably of his images is you know, a reference of something, but like it's still drawn by him. Like he didn't credit anyone for. I know it's him, and he told me, he asked me before the video came out. He's like, "What was that episode of Joe where he's in the jail in the truck crying? That scene. I wanted to make something similar, like use that as a reference, basically." I'm like, "Oh, it's this episode." So I know he draws all of it. Okay, but like unbelievable. Like the visuals is stunning. It's stunning. Yeah, fuck. I'm so mad. It's like I'm just embarrassed to fucking make this other video, like my Gurren Lagann video, and I can't even fucking compete. Like knowing this video exists, it's so hard. It's good, and I don't know if I'd be able to. Like I was thinking, it was like if this was the next level for me, if like Man Mode is sort of like my inspiration to like make this Gurren Lagann video effectively, and I didn't even know that making that Gurren Lagann video, it did not occur to me until towards the end, like like 2 weeks ago or something, that I was editing it. I was like, oh my god, I'm making this in response to his Gridman video. I didn't even realize it. Like in terms of like me really caring about this and this and the other thing, and really making this, not like it's not intentional exactly, but it really is an inspiration in that way. But I'm seeing this and it's the same thing. I'm like, shit, fuck. How do I do any of this? How do I even begin? But it's so good. There's so much that's directly sourced. It's barely his opinion. It's barely Steve's opinion. I don't think he uses the word "I" referring to himself in the entire video. Maybe the conclusion where he's filming himself, but that's it. It's fuck. Oh, I'm killing. It's. I knew it. I knew I was bracing for it, but I couldn't believe it. I was expecting it too, but it was the whole thing, right? There are moments of this that are in his other videos. He's doing that he has the same illustration with Miyazaki of the way he like poses like this. He has that in his Porco Rosso video and a lot of these other videos. And those are elements in his Whisper of the Heart video and these other things. But like, it's a completely different level with this Cone video. There's there's multiple drawings and multiple individuals that are important to his life drawn. I can't believe how much I learned about Satoshi Kon in this video that I did not know already. It's laughable how many videos on Satoshi Kon never touch this shit that STEVEM's talking about, which is Kon's authorial intent and his perspective and him thanking the people that make these movies. And it's not just him. Everybody, it still does. And they were doing it while he was alive. I couldn't believe that he actually acknowledges it. And he's like, no, it's not just me making these videos. It's not just me making these movies. It's a team effort. I love that it's a team effort. It's not just me. Yes, it's so true. And what the fuck? Like, why hasn't anyone come close to this? There's so much. I don't know if it's because of the Master of Illusion book that Steven talks about and credits for a lot of the video. I don't know if it's because it was out of print and it was hard to get and a lot of people just don't have this information and Steven's just bringing it to the video form for the first time. I don't know. But he's sourcing a ton of other shit too. It's not like this stuff was hard to find. It's not like he was an obscure fucking figure. He's like one of the most famous anime directors of all time. I don't know why this stuff seemed like new information for me. Why the fuck? I was kind of the best videos make me upset in a good way, you know? They really do. It's like, shit, of course. But it's structured so beautifully. It has so much great information that I would have no idea otherwise. It's such a resource talking to him. I was listening to the anime encyclopedia. Okay. I got the anime encyclopedia because I listened to the Ancast interview with John Clements and Helen McCarthy talking about the third edition that came out in 2015. And I listened to them, and they were talking about how there's not a lot of people like them in 2015. I don't know the space, but there's not a lot of people making books like them and giving this information like them. And they don't have like a bed. They want people to be there and make this sort of resources for people and have this information. So what I'm getting at is I think Steven's becoming one of those people that actually reads into this shit and understands Miyazaki at a really fundamental level and understands Kon at a very fundamental level and these actual people. And I'm so glad that he's on YouTube. That's the best fucking part. It's not fucking gatekept by a book or we have to buy or something. This is free content. I can't believe it's free content. This is bordering on fucking, this should be a fucking paid fucking BBC-ass program. Like, this is really high level shit. This isn't just like fucking a YouTube video. I'm not kidding you. Like, this is the top tier shit. I can't believe it. I say, can I praise you any more than that? I don't know, but it really is. He's becoming that sort of resource. Not quite. I say quote unquote because this is a lot of misinformation. It's really funny. I will be going over this a lot. It'll be future content in a different, not on Digest or something. But I feel like this is really important that this sort of content is being made and on YouTube. That it is really, that's what I mean, fucking validating our platform. Showing people, yes, we make good shit. Stop. Stop doing everything that you're doing. Fucking writing all of us off. God. Of course it's the best video of the week. Do you think it's gonna be best video of the year, guys? Do you think so? I'm not sure. Maybe. God. No, it's like, you know, I think about it, this is coming from a guy who is yet to put out his Gurren Lagann video that I've been touting for months, the whole year pretty much. And that, like, I hope people like, and like, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be better than this video. I don't think. I mean, people can love it. People can love my video or something, but it's, Jesus Christ. Did I miss anything? I really hope I didn't miss it. I mean, I'll probably talk about this at the end of the year again. I'll probably watch it again for sure. Oh my God. I can't believe it's a third. I can't, I have to word count it. I really want to see how much of it is other people that he's quoting and actual himself talking. I'm pretty sure it's a sizable chunk. It's disgusting. I can't believe none of us are even close. God. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode of AniTube Digest. I went fucking hard on that last one. Thank you to my patrons for being so kind as to support this, and so we can finance making this a podcast. I hope you listened to it, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you to Beamburst, Flugmorph, Hazel, Jawburst, Kuiper, Conra, Kazuki, MyAnimePod, Najbeb, Unique Namosaurus, and Yellow Cheese. And that's not quite the end of the video. It's not quite the end of this week of AniTube Digest. Yay! Celebration. Yearly celebration. I should have a better title for it, but I'm not good at that. The thing I forgot to mention, that I could have said at the beginning, but I didn't. If you look in the description, there is now a link to a Google Drive Excel sheets, and it should be in the description for every previous digest and every forthcoming digest. That is keeping track, hopefully as accurately as possible. This could be years old and it's probably funked or something. I don't know. It is a live document of every anime YouTuber I've talked about on Digest and their videos and whether I gave them decent. It's a catalog. It's a database, as I call it. And living document, I'm obviously just gonna add it to it weekly, but also probably add some improvements, like there's empty boxes for like whether the video was decent or whatever, but like you don't know which video that is. So I'm looking to enter that information into the box, but that's going to take a lot of time. That I was like, I want to get this out by this time or something. So it's pretty complete at the moment, but there's things I want to add to it and contribute to. If you have any suggestions for how to make it better or more engaging or something, please let me know. That'd be cool. But enjoy that if you're interested and if you like numbers. So that exists. We have the new podcast format on I guess it should have been out on Monday. Oops. I have it recorded, but I'm gonna release it I guess tomorrow. Fuck. I guess today when you've seen this, I probably maybe already made it, but no, actually Wednesday. No promises. Stop with the promises. There will be a video this week talking about 24 anime YouTubers that are under 1,000 subscribers that I suggest that you check out and subscribe to so we can get them to 1,000 subscribers. And then I have a live stream coming up Wednesday, September 2nd at, I want to say 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see. It'll be my first live stream ever on this channel. But it'll be on this channel, and so I hope you enjoy that and join me. We're doing a tier list that I've made. I have to make some adjustments to it, though. I'm not sure. Whatever. I have to actually... I've made the... Whatever. And then, hopefully Thursday or Friday, or one of those... Another video should come out, which I have been making, but I'm doing other things. I'm busy. It's a little fun montage of sorts of highlights from AniTube Digest that I wanted to include. I thought you'd enjoy, but that involved going through every single AniTube Digest, which takes a while. I'm not even done with it because of that. So hopefully that gets done by Friday or something. Anyway, I think that's everything. It's a pretty cool celebration. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good week. This time, for sure. I mean, hopefully every week in such trying times. But thank you again this is the kind of the anniversary, I guess, the transition between year 1 and year 2. So I guess thank you again for watching this. It would not, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have whatever. I'm so happy I made it. And I'm kind of blanking on the significance of it. I think people have talked about it, and it seems to have made a positive impact. I've noticed that like all the videos that like the anime YouTubers I was giving a not good to in the beginning have suddenly been making better content. I wonder why. Not like, but like I'm sorry if this is a little bit of a private conversation, but it's not like private information. I don't know. But something that was very encouraging to me was something that Sea Dog told me. He watches some digest, so I don't know if he's watching this at the moment. But he told me when he called me that some, you know, there's more people that watch digest that haven't come out as saying they've watched digest. It's one thing to really out yourself as someone who watches and engages with it, right? And it's another to be like, what's he saying about me? You know? So it's like, that was encouraging to me. It's like, okay, there are people watching this, and I'm not just, I don't know. But like, I'm very happy it's making an impact on people. And something to enjoy. It's something fun. So here's to another year. I would like to commit to another year of this at least. Not that it'll stop next year or something. I just want to, like, if I was to stop it, I would want to stop it on around this time, like as a yearly thing, and make it a decisive, this was the period of time. You know what I mean? I want to be very decisive about that. So if I'm not enjoying it halfway through next year, I'm not just going to stop it suddenly. I'm going to be very, unless it's very unbearable for me to do, which I don't know if it will. I don't think it will. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good week. Yo, peace.